So now I'll go over some of the repairs for the back and other things I want to share with you. First, in the top over here where we had the can cover, I cut a piece of plastic, put that in there, and that keeps the balls from coming out of the track. I also cut a new piece of plastic here. So this is all new. Then on the top of your machine, in the supply tray, there was a piece of metal that was covering this portion, and that was missing. So I got another piece of metal, sanded down the edge, but you still want to be careful with it, and I screwed it in place. What this is here for is so when you pour balls into the supply tray, it keeps them from that portion of this track under here. Without that there, the balls were jamming up and they would not flow down the track. So if you, and this could even happen even though we've added this cover. So sometimes maybe the weight of the balls will be too heavy and they won't roll down the track. So if they're not rolling, you can just take your finger and kind of push them out of the way so they start rolling again. One of the main issues was the one ball seesaw. And I was able to still use the original. Someone had tried to make some modifications to it, and basically I had to undo that. This wire, they actually attached it over here, and that was the wrong place for that wire. There was no, this metal here, it's a guide with the 2 screws in it. That metal wasn't here, it was missing. So what I did is I took it, there was another one right here. So I took the one that was here and I moved it here because the position of this one was much more important for the wire. And then I created a new one out of a piece of plastic for this wire down here. But first, what this wire does is as you get a jackpot, a ball will enter in this seesaw, it'll tilt down, and then this wire, purpose of it is to, as you get your jackpot, it will reset the seesaw. So I had to add a couple pachinko balls in here for weights, put a couple cotter pins, so now this part is working. Now there were a couple covers here. We had one basically about here, and then another one about right here. These were originally designed for if you were to get a jackpot and tilt down, you would get your jackpot paid out. But if you didn't have enough balls and you kept playing, the jackpots would roll over the top of the seesaw, inside of that cover, down and into a holding area, and then an attendant, could come by in the pachinko parlor and you say, "Hey, I'm not getting paid out." They could see that you had won 2 or 3 or 4 times before, and they could with another mechanism activate a lever which would then pay out those balls once they refilled the machine. Now, that's the way it should work. But this machine, the way they put it together, they didn't put any of that hardware in to activate those jackpots. They also put all of this together in such a way that there's a window on front where you could see if you had jackpots backed up. They blocked that window, and these were basically non-functioning covers. So I took them off because you could actually have a ball, there's a hole right here, a ball could come in here, get inside of the cover, and then cause this not to function. So by removing the cover, now this will flow freely and you won't have to worry about having a ball jam. While we have the machine laying down, I wanted to show you another close-up of the back of that window. So here's a little clear piece of plastic, and you can kind of see that oval shape there. That's the window. Like I say, normally what would have happened is you would have had balls lining up here waiting to be paid out, and then there would have been a mechanism down here which was missing to push the ball in here so that it could activate this lever and pay out your jackpot. However, you wouldn't even be able to see the balls in the window because the way this machine was constructed, they had this part here, and the balls would actually stack up, and they would be below the window. So like I say, this whole assembly should have been, everything should have been shifted up in order for it to line up with the window. Now your machine was also missing a pin up at the top. This track here, coming across here, there's this lever, and whenever you don't have enough balls up here, this lever drops down and locks, and so you can't play the game. Your jackpots won't pay out until you put balls into the top tray. Once you put balls in the top tray, if you were to get a jackpot, that arm could pivot and tilt down and pay out your balls. So I added that nail on. Now in all cases, the metal parts on your back of the machine, a lot of them are made of brass and they bend real easy. Like this one here, it's got a nail through, but it's just brass, so you could bend it with your hands. This one as well, and several others. So it took a lot of tinkering to bend all these parts back into the right shape so that they would function. So you want to be real careful and not bang anything around here, because if this gets bent just a little bit, then this might stick and it might not function like it should.